Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Meta Cafe. I am Living Astrology's Janet Hickox. Sitting next to me is Titillating Tarot's Jason Livanis, and we're here to talk to you today about the energy of the day as seen through astrology, the tarot, and through human design. Albeit today's going to be a quicker one, isn't it? Because you have to leave. So I'm going to forego all the titillating banter and go straight to what it is I want to say so that Jason can pull a card and get the heck out of here.
Get to the meat of it.
Get to the meat. So yesterday I began a conversation with all of you about Jupiter opposing Uranus, and I said that I was going to bring you the 5 days this week, different facets of what Jupiter opposing Uranus means. Because it's pretty tricky, Jason. This isn't a feel-good, touchy-feely kind of transit. No, this is fairly antagonistic. Anytime we have an opposition of planets, they're antagonizing each other, right? You could think of it as a tug of war. You know, one person has one end of the rope, or one planet has the other, and they're tugging. And each tug getting stronger as each one's trying to pull their self into the limelight. So when you have Jupiter, the biggest planet in our solar system, versus Uranus, the most shocking and unpredictable planet in our universe. Provocative, yeah. So what we get is this concept of expansion and shock. So yesterday we talked about mostly, that kind of energy, but today there is this other energy that we talked about before, which is this strong urge to reaction versus the ability to respond. And essentially all that's involved in the difference here is reaction is knee-jerk and happens in the moment. Like, I'm pissed off at you, so I, reach out and hurt you in some way. Instead of response, which allows us to breathe. Take a breath. Everyone out there, take a breath with me. And then you respond from a place of consciousness. And just that little bit of time gives us the opportunity to rethink, perhaps, or reevaluate our response to something as opposed to that knee-jerk reaction. So remember, the nature of the opposition itself is antagonistic. And if you couple that with reaction, words can be said that you can't take back. Actions can be done that you cannot take back. So everybody breathe light. This week, this is all week, this is in play. The exact opposition doesn't happen until the 28th. And then on top of that, today we have the moon in Sagittarius. It's completing its transit through Sagittarius, but guess who else is there? Saturn. And the moon is very close to Saturn now, within 5 degrees. That means later today, it'll be exact. And if that's the case, then your reactions have consequences. And those consequences may not be what you expect. So take it easy today. Please, please breathe. Not just today, all week. Please, please breathe before you react and do something that you might regret, or say something that you might regret. Because for no reason are we here to hurt one another. We're here to love one another. So stay in love, stay out of hate, stay out of fear, stay out of reaction. All right? Love you all. Jason, your turn. Take it away. Okay, let me clear the screen for you. And there you go. You have the screen.
Every once in a while, I say to myself, I listen to your explanations and I go, I wonder what card would really best show that off. And I won't lie to you, a lot of times, Janet, because this is so new for both of us, a lot of times I kind of go, not a fucking clue. This is the perfect card for exactly what you all saw me just pick it out of my arm. So it's coming in at you live.
Two of Swords.
Can you see it?
I can.
Can you describe it?
Two of Swords piercing the lotus blossom.
Yes. What's down below?
Looks like the world, or is that Mercury, or I can't tell exactly.
It's an emerald. If this card, if this card were the Two of Wands, I'd be sitting here saying to people, no matter what Janet says, you're not going to be able to breathe. You will only react, and you're screwed. this card is the diametrically opposed card to that, this Two of Swords. I get this card when it comes to people discussing their bosses. I get this card when it comes to people discussing their partners, business partners, work associates. It is a cool card. It is a card of sharp intellect and wit, as Stewie would say.
Wonderful.
As Stewie would say, wit. And you can see it goes to the lotus blossom. So we're talking about divinity. We're talking about Buddha. We're talking about calmness. We're talking about that card comes up when two people of equal and opposite come up against each other and create something wonderful, as opposed to two people that are completely opposite and equal that come up against each other in the Two of Wands, and it is explosive. So this card is saying that you have the energy to be a civilized human being today. It is a choice.
It's always a choice, isn't it?
It's a choice, but especially today, you're being given the extra energy of this card and the potentiality of this Jupiter opposing Neptune.
Or Uranus.
Uranus, that you know, is already going to say to you, there is a chance for combativity, but the combativity can be working together for a cause.
You know, that's awesome, Jason. We're coming together for a cause. Remember, you know, there's all of this hullabaloo around the NFL and all the tweets that, you know, Trump is putting out. And then some people that are just like, oh, this is all about, you know, being patriotic and loving the flag and loving your country. But then the athletes are sitting here saying this wasn't born out of that patriotism. This was born, or it was born out of the ability that we have to speak our minds according to the First Amendment. And in a conversation with a family member yesterday, you know, I was putting out the hashtag pound I stand for love. And she put out that same hashtag, but also I stand against the NFL. And I went, is there another way that you can put this? Right? I get it. I get it. Your opinion is that the NFL sucks for whatever it is that their part is in this. But can you say it in a way that brings us together instead of separates us? So she reframed it, and I love this because she's totally not metaphysical, not in my world. She just barely knows who I am. I've just met these people. And she says, I stand for freedom and the men and women whose lives were lost in defense of this country. I was like, cool.
That's a hell of a hashtag.
Well, she
That's almost as bad as Titillating Tarot with JasonLivanis.com.
Exactly. But here's the cool thing. The cool thing was that she was able to, in the moment, as soon as that consciousness was shifted in her, to bring it around in a way that I could support. Right? I support our men and women. I support freedom. And those are the kinds of things that we can do in just that little moment. Instead of being against something, be for something, because that's inclusive, not exclusive. And, you know, face it, we may not like the actions that everybody takes, including our dear president. But if we can find a way to come together, then those kind of people with their voices can't do exactly what he tried to do, which is divide us all. So,
well,
this again is Uranus and Jupiter in action.
A little quickie technique for everybody out there. You know that old adage, count to 10?
Yes.
It actually is not necessary to go to 10. You only need exactly 5 seconds to get out of the reptilian reaction mode into the thought process. So if you cannot put your foot in your mouth, if you cannot pick up the knife, if you can put down the flamethrower, 5 seconds, 5-second rule. You know, hey, Jason, fuck you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At this point, now I can make a decision, and my decision would be fuck you very much. It's a decision. 5 seconds.
It always is
hard to do.
Response versus reaction.
They actually did clinical tests on this to find out how fast it takes for the neural network to send a certain message to have everything happen. 5 seconds is your time.
Wow, that's awesome. We have science backing up what we know metaphysically now.
Exactly. In other words, it is cutting off the reptilian brain and getting here. Now, here's the better. If you want to get there in 1 second, immediately somebody says to you, Jason, fuck you. You can go immediately, if you're very zen, you can go immediately to, I appreciate that. The second you go into appreciation, it snaps immediately to the firing of the front of the brain. So that's
a good point too.
Anybody can tell you anything, and you could go, thank you. That'll give you more than enough time for the brain to shift, and you can go, oh, consider the source. Look at who's telling me off. Just look at her hair. Imagine.
What is wrong with my hair?
Not your hair, anybody. I'm just making her as the pronoun. You never have anything wrong with your hair. You are not follicularly challenged.
No, that's for sure.
I got to run to the chiropractor and start my day here because this happens in the middle of my day as opposed to Janet's. Definitely a couple of wonderful things happening. I'm doing the star cards tomorrow. That's exciting. Not sure if I'm going to have any guests on as of yet. Janet has a couple different things up in the air, so we don't know where she's going with her show. I do. Oh, you do? Okay, so 7 o'clock tomorrow, and then 7 o'clock on Thursday. Here in the East time, and out there in Pacific, it's 4 o'clock. Don't miss us.
Don't miss us. And today I'm actually on Angel Heart Radio at 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. East Coast time. She's also on Blog Talk Radio, and Annette and Anea are two of the sweetest ladies ever in the world.
What time?
I love being on her show. It is at 5 p.m. Pacific time because of the time change in Australia to the U.S. and 5 p.m. my time, and that makes it 8 p.m. East Coast time on Blog Talk. Look for Angel Heart Radio. Right? Yeah, 8 p.m. your time.
Oh, 8 p.m. That's okay. Maybe I can do that tonight. Yeah. Whatever. What's your topic tonight?
Tonight we're going to be talking about all of the aspects lining up for us for this equinox. Okay. And for the Australian audience, of course, it's their spring. For us, it is our fall. But the transits are the same. Ha-ha. Right? Cool. Transits are the same. Just different part of the world. So everybody have a great day. Jason, go get your chiropractic on, and we'll see you all this same time tomorrow morning.
Bye.
Bye for now.